The film opens with a team of police officers doing a raid on a drug manufacturing facility. This operation is led by David, the team leader. Despite successfully carrying out the raid, one of the drug dealers threatens David with punishment from their boss. However, David does not appear to be terrified. He even challenges the man. Shortly after, while checking the newly raided narcotics, David is abruptly ambushed by a man who has managed to escape himself. David defends himself by shooting the man. After successfully removing the man, David learns the base has been wired with a time bomb, so he rushes out before it explodes. A few days later, John, a former Special Forces soldier notorious for his aggressive behavior and persistent violation of orders, discovered his wife's blood-stained wedding ring. When John noticed this, he realized his wife had been taken. Before he can take action, he is ambushed by a group of criminals who want to harm him. Undeterred, John engages them in combat. In the end, John successfully eliminates the thugs. However, John must be escorted to the police station due to his recent acts. On the other side, David is seen conversing with his superior. The superior then orders David to handle John, who has been taken to the police station for his activities against the thugs. David is tasked with disciplining John for his role in eliminating several gang members. However, David defends John, indicating that they are close friends, and claims that John's actions were likely self-defense. Shortly after, David decides to release John as a trusted friend, and John tells David about his wife's disappearance. It is assumed that John's wife was taken by the city's most powerful drug mafia boss, as John had a significant altercation with that boss. Fortunately, David is currently committed to fighting drug trafficking, so he agrees to help John rescue his wife and catch the mafia boss. However, David must wait for orders from his boss, as police activities require official authority. That evening, John is shown, quietly gazing at his wife's wedding ring, thinking about their most precious times together. His intense love for his wife fuels his desire for vengeance against the mafia boss and his assistants. The scene shifts to one of the mafia leader's minions, disguised as a priest, kidnapping a Russian woman. Unbeknownst to him, John has already arrived and quickly eliminates the henchman. Shortly later, John rescues the Russian woman from captivity by posing as a priest before executing the mafia leader. However, John swears to first eliminate each of his henchmen. Meanwhile, the mafia boss and his associates are seen having dinner. They talk about the recent deaths of their henchmen at the hands of John. One associate appreciates John's prowess but expresses anxiety about their capacity to deal with him. The mafia boss is irritated by the praise and swiftly eliminates the associate, warning the others not to speak well of John. He underlines his anger for such words, declaring that John will meet his demise, especially now that his wife has been stolen. The next night, John was conversing with David at a nightclub, and he revealed that he killed one of the mafia boss's bodyguards on his own terms. He expresses his dissatisfaction with waiting for directions from David's superior. David eventually agrees to help John without requesting permission beforehand. While David goes to the restroom, John is approached by numerous prostitutes who are actually henchmen for the mafia lord. They pretend to seduce John, but he remains unconcerned, prompting a conflict. When David returns, he quickly leads John out of the club. The next day, David is shown leaving his fiancée and telling her to leave town temporarily while he and John prepare to take down the city's most powerful mafia boss. David does not want his girlfriend to become involved and insists she keep out of the problem. Hearing this, she begs David not to become associated with the mafia boss. As they drive, another automobile unexpectedly blocks their route, exposing the mafia boss and his minions. The mafia boss quickly kidnaps David's girlfriend and warns him not to meddle in his affairs. David is tied up in his car while the mafia boss drives away with his girlfriend. Not long after, John discovers David's parked car and frees him, learning about his captivity. They wasted no time and went directly to confront the mafia boss's associates are apprehended and sent to their hideout for questioning. However, John subjected the dealers to torture before questioning them about the mafia boss's whereabouts and the location of the narcotics manufacturing facility. One of the dealers tries to flee, causing John to kill him. Witnessing John's savagery, another dealer quickly reveals the mafia boss's hideout and drug manufacturing facilities. In the evening, John and David arrive at the mafia boss's stronghold. Before entering, they devised a strategy to enter from various sides. John enters at the front, whilst David enters from the back. Shortly after, John successfully dispatches the guards and proceeds to the next section, where he meets the mafia boss's motorcycle gang members once more. Meanwhile, the mafia boss observes John's deeds through CCTV cameras, noting his ruthlessness. He then sends a female henchman, Sandra, to kidnap John by misleading him. She approaches John, claiming to be distressed and requesting his assistance. When John arrived, Sandra attacked him and knocked him out. Shortly thereafter, John discovers himself locked in a room alongside David and David's girlfriend, who has also been kidnapped by the mafia boss. A huge man then enters the room to torture John, but he fights back, causing him to be tied up even tighter, preventing him from moving. After the guards leave, David inquires as to why John's wife is not present. John is unsure of her whereabouts, but he is convinced she is held somewhere else. David then becomes intrigued by John's fight with such a powerful mafia lord. John explains that when in the special forces, he was supposed to assassinate the boss but mistakenly killed the boss's wife instead. As a result, the mafia boss kidnaps John's wife and wants vengeance. Later, John is taken to the mafia boss's basement fighting arena. In addition to drugs, the boss organizes illicit battles for amusement. Now, the boss plans to pit John against his best fighter in a fight to the death. Regardless of the odds, John remains fearless, and the fight starts. During the fierce combat, John initially struggles, but as he sees a vision of his wife, his morale improves. With renewed determination, John defeats the mafia boss' best fighter. However, he is cornered by the boss's henchman before David comes and intervenes, saving John's life. David and John join forces to tackle the mafia boss's last minions, as David is fighting. John infiltrates the boss's private chamber. There, the boss blames John for his wife's death and swears to torture him by administering a powerful new medicine that causes insanity. This medicine has also had a negative impact on John's wife's mental health. Enraged, John strikes the boss, but the boss appears to be stronger since he has taken special pills. Meanwhile, David continues to battle the henchmen. Fortunately, his sharpshooting ability allows him to dispatch them one by one. However, he mistakenly enters a room full of people who have been driven insane by the new medication. David is forced to stand up for himself and regretfully eliminates them. Returning to John, he evades the boss's persistent assaults until he unintentionally discovers his wife in a room, who has lost her sanity after receiving the latest form of the medication. Seeing his wife's state, John can only cry because she cannot be cured. Despite his despair, John perseveres, finally turning the tables on the boss and defeating him despite sustaining a stomach injury in the process. On the other side, David's girlfriend tries to run but is attacked by one of the remaining goons. She fights for her life until David intervenes and eliminates the attackers. John and David have eliminated the mafia lord and his crew. Although his wife did not survive, John sees it as a warning for his previous transgressions. Before going, John destroys the boss's hideaway to guarantee that any survivors meet their demise. Days later, David relays the incidents to his boss, underlining the dangers posed by the mafia-created drugs. However, his superior dismisses his arguments and fires David for acting without authorization. David joins forces with John to combat drug trafficking in other cities, each with their unique approach. Thanks for watching my videos.